Hey everybody, welcome back to another super exciting Art of War stream. This week we're going to be talking about the World Team Championships, which happened just the last weekend. I unfortunately wasn't able to attend and have the biggest FOMO ever, but I was able to sit back and watch the show from our good friend Joe at War Games Live. He did an amazing job with our friend Adam Camilleri from Down Under, and they just commentated the entire weekend through and through, and they did such an amazing job. So, as someone who's been to the WTC 8 or 9 times, and it's never really got that kind of coverage, especially from the English-speaking countries, and definitely not in America. I'm really excited to see the coverage that it's got. So hopefully you all got a chance to watch, and you really captured. I feel like Joe did a great job capturing the essence of the event, and not just streaming a game of Warhammer to you, but really capturing what the World Team Championship is all about. I know I got serious FOMO from not being there, so hopefully you all felt something by watching. It's truly the best event of the year. There's nothing else like it out there for Warhammer. So I'm super excited. I will hope to be back next year. That is certainly my goal. And today we're just going to be breaking down exactly what happened. I see Alexander Sacco in chat right now. What's up? Shout out Alex. He's one of our War members, and he placed in the semifinals, losing in the semifinals to Eldar with his Chaos Space Marines in the singles War Master event. We're actually going to get Alex onto the podcast to talk about how that Chaos list worked and how he was able to fend off a field of Genestealer Cults and Eldar effectively with Chaos Space Marines. Shout out also to our new boy Quentin Johnson, Art of War coach, making the semifinals of the weekend as well. Amazing. And of course, how could I not talk about our overall performance in teams? But that's actually what I'm here to talk about. So if you're interested in this new series we're starting, where we break down tournaments that happen in post, or big tournaments with their list reviews and all that, basically tournament coverage on the Art of War channel, do me a favor, leave a like for this video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comment section that you want this kind of content, or if you want to improve upon it in some way, you have a nice idea. Basically, your support for this channel is how I consistently, and how we are consistently able to produce content for you and keep on streaming and keep on teaching Warhammer. So, can't do it without you. Thank you so much. And if you're interested in learning the game and becoming your best, getting better at Warhammer, I can't tell you enough how much you should check out the War Room. It's in the link below for a 3-day free trial, thewarroom.vhx.tv. I'm telling you about Art of War coaches placing in the semis. I'm telling you about Art of War Room members placed in the semis. I'm talking to you about World Team Champions coming out of the War Room right now. What more do I need to say? Alright, that's enough spieling and dealing for now. I'm ready to get into it. Let's go click some buttons. So over here you can see this is the leaderboard for the US, or for the World Team Championship. We got Poland coming in first over here. Poland is a dominating force in the Warhammer 40k tournament scene. I think they actually are the team that's won the most WTCs and has the most podium placements in top 3-4 WTC. We got D-Gen, who's a member for 9 months, chanting USA, USA, USA. Appreciate you. Speaking of which, USA coming in second place. You'll notice here that in round 4 they actually got a draw. This draw was against Poland, so this is the only dent in Poland's record. Poland actually had 6 wins and a draw. US gave them their draw, so that's pretty cool. US got a second draw, which is why they ended up placing second to Poland's first. I believe Poland also had more battle points, but I'm not doing the math just yet. We could click this button right here to actually just figure it out. Poland had 737 battle points, 13 match points. Their strength of schedule is 4.14. And then if we extrapolate on the US had 12 match points, so just 1 fewer match point. That's that draw difference coming in. Basically, you get 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, 0 points for loss, and that's your match point total. And then it'll go down to your battle point total as your second tiebreaker. So even if we actually did manage to get another win over England in the 6th round here, we would have lost to Poland on total battle points, since they had 737 and we had 719. Our strength of schedule as US was slightly softer than Poland's, 4.14 to 3.93. And then you'll see Australia, last year's champions, who came in first, of course, last year, ended up coming in third this time, having a rough beginning, taking a draw on the first 3 games. So basically they bracketed you out based on seed for your first 3 rounds, and then it was Swiss after that. So they took a draw on the first day, which is definitely not something anyone expected, and then straight into a loss. So that's Australia not showing up to work on whatever day this was, but then cleaning out house as they move to maybe softer matchups. Let's see what their strength of schedule ended up looking like. So they've got 11 match points, 1 shyer than US, 2 shyer than Poland, 700 battle points. So that's actually very clean for this kind of top 3 placement. Strength of schedule 4. So clean 4 on the number, actually a harder strength schedule in the USA, but all of them are like very, very near each other in terms of difficulty level here. Sweden coming out of nowhere in top 4. Sweden is one of my favorite countries at the WTC. They're made of such amazing gentlemen and such a fun team. Such great spirits. I've actually gone to Sweden, I don't know, like 4 or 5 times as a pre-trip to the World Team Championships just to hang out with the Swedish team. Their captain is Daniel Hesselberg, and he's just a fun dude. So Sweden looks like they had a 5-2 record coming in 4th, so 1 fewer match points than Australia, 2 fewer than US, 3 fewer than Poland. They actually took this big loss to Poland in round 4, 103-57. In this, you can see Sweden has got 10 match points and 649 battle points with a 4.5 strength of schedule. Sweden, calm down. Apparently fighting every hard team in the room. And then we got Germany, England in 5th, Germany in 6th. So interesting enough, Germany actually podiumed last year. The top 3 was Australia 1, Poland 2nd, Germany 3rd, and obviously you see Poland 1st, US 2nd, Australia 3rd. So similar, pretty much, I would say Poland, USA, Australia, England, and Germany are consistent top 5 finishers. Sweden being a bit of a dark horse coming here, although they have podiumed before in the past, and they have definitely beaten some top teams before. So this is one of the strongest showings in a while, but good to see them coming out of the woodworks. We've got Spain, another top country that had a bit of a tough run this year. 3 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss. Still, that's enough that you can just show you had 3 draws and a loss out of potential 14 match points. You finish with 9, and you're still in 7th place. Like, this tournament is so ridiculously hard. And then as we go through, we got Austria, Netherlands, and Belgium finishing out the top 10. France getting 11th is a bit disappointing for France, I must say. They are typically a top 10 country, sometimes top 5, and then they take 2 losses in a draw here, which I'm sure they're not super thrilled about. Ironically, Alexander Saka, who's watching from home over here, he is a Frenchman, but did not qualify for the French team. Qualified for the Belgian team instead. Then made top 4 at the War Masters Challenge, and also placed higher on Belgium than he did on France. So maybe France will take him next year. We shall see. And then as we get into it, we got newcomers. New Zealand coming in 15th. Canada, can't forget them, in 14th. Greece and Romania. Now, I want to take a shout out to Greece for the year. Greece is historically one of the worst teams in the tournament. They've gotten last time and time again. So for them to get top half is truly impressive. Well done, Greece. Let's take a look at what they got here. They got strength schedule 3.29, 572 battle points, 8 match points. And I want to say the difference between 8 match points and, say, Spain over here with 9 match points is 7th to 16th, right? 1 match point decide all this, and the rest is just tiebreakers. So your tiebreakers are enormous, and it just goes to show, as you get tighter and tighter, each win becomes so much more, each match point becomes so much more of a big deal. So great job to Greece coming in out of nowhere. Italy, another typically top 10 type of team, has really had a rough year going 2 wins, 2 losses, 3 draws. Going through, you can see Switzerland, United Nations A, Norway, Iceland, South Africa, and Wales. South Africa making their first appearance ever, getting 1 win, 4 draws, and 2 losses. They got the 10s figured out. All right, then there's some more armies and or countries on page 2. But what we're really here for is the story of the overall meta. We're going to break down the actual round by round stuff over here. So let's go to round 1. We'll take a look at all the different countries to see kind of what their first couple rounds look like. In round 1, let's search for USA. I guess that doesn't work. Okay, so we've got USA 148 versus Cyprus 12. Cyprus actually ended up finishing in last place. This is their first time appearing as a country, I believe, as well. And they've got some learning curves to do. But if anything's shown from Greece, you can go from last to 16th with just some hard work and dedication. Surely that is most improved award goes to them. It's a nice clean 148-12. This is simply we are an experienced veteran team here, USA, and then Cyprus has some learning to do. But let's see how everyone else fared. I'm mostly going to focus on the top countries to try and show you what the top of this funnel looks like. But everyone has their own story for this tournament. What makes WT such an amazing event is that no matter what place you come in, you make memories and friends that last lifetimes, and that's really what it's about. I cannot wait to be back next year, hopefully. I can hope. Poland with a 119 over South Africa. Pretty commanding victory. Just for clarification, to win this round, you need 86 battle points as your total. So 119 is well in the comfort zone. Let's take a look at Germany, another top team. Historically, Germany with a 114 over Malta. And you'll notice that all the top teams are kind of placed against teams that are not historically top teams and didn't place that well this year. That's because the event is seeded going in based on your team's historic performances. So a lot of the teams, they get kind of layups round one. Or very challenging matchups round one, depending on your perspective. So Australia getting a 114 over New Zealand. This was actually the stream match. I watched this one. 114 over New Zealand. Can we talk about how hilarious it is Australia and New Zealand flew across the planet to play each other? I mean, how do we not appreciate that? But this is the kind of victory you'd expect out of last year's champions. And then the last one I want to talk about is Sweden over here. Just because... Oh, and England. How could I not talk about England? Sweden and England are the... This is basically the top 6 of the tournaments. We're going to follow them. Sweden getting a 142 over Israel. And finally, England over here. England with a 126 for Bulgaria. So that's nice, clean. Everyone you'd expect to win round one wins round one. Nothing too fascinating over there. Let's keep on going. We got England going into round 2. PCP. So with a 111 over Romania, probably another commanding victory. I played against Romania. Such lovely gentlemen, such fun people. But maybe not the strongest of Warhammer, at least not yet. USA, 121 versus Northern Ireland. Another group of excellent sports, great guys. Such a fun team. But they got a ways to go before they're catching up. England, over here. We just did England. Australia. Boop, 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 boop. Australia with a 135 over Portugal. Yeah, so the first 3 rounds are really going to look like this for most countries that we're taking a look at, and that's because of the seeding bracket system. Okay, Germany with a 133 over 27 on Luxembourg. And we've got Australia with a 130. I just did that. I got to find an order. I'll start in alphabetical. That makes sense. So we'll start with Australia. Then we got to do Poland. How can we not do Poland? 127 over Wales. Okay, so then we go into round 3. And this will be the last of the bracket system. I'm really breezing through the bracket system because it gets so much more fascinating once you get paired into teams that are basically teams that you should be playing against in terms of relative skill. So round 3, you can already start to see we're getting smaller wins out here. USA versus Denmark at 115 to 45. Now, Denmark is considered a strong team. It's definitely a top half type of team. So getting a 115 to 45 over Denmark is definitely, it's very strong. It's a really, really strong showing from the USA right here. And basically, just going through it a little bit more, Sean is murdering people with this NIDS list. And I want to talk about that really quick. Like, how is Sean doing this? It's his NIDS list. Let's look at it really quick. Just pull it up. Let's pull it up. We got Hive Tyrant, we got Neurotime, we got Old One Eye, 2 Biovores, 2 Death Spitter Carnifexes, an Exocrine, 2 Lictors, a Maliceptor, 1, 2, 3 Solo Pyrovores, a Trigon, and 2 Tyrannifexes. How the hell is this 20-0ing everybody? He got 20-0 versus... I'm gonna rant real quick. I need to know, Sean. I know Sean's a wizard. We all know Sean's a wizard, but this is some stuff. So 20-0 over Deathwatch. I guess that doesn't make sense to me, but it happened. Whatever. 20-0 versus Genestealer Occult. All right. Player skill's obviously a factor, especially at this level. But what the hell is happening? How is Sean getting 20-0s over GC with Tyranids, with Monster Match Tyranids? What is going on? And round 1 into Belgium, our boy Sean over here. Oh, would you look at that? 20-0 over Custody. It's not like they're one of the best armies in the game or something. What the hell is going on, Sean? So, it's one of the modern mysteries of the world, Sean's record into Europe. I got nothing else to say over there. So, commanding victory for USA in round 3 versus Denmark, not Northern Ireland. Let's take a look at England in round 3. England played against Romania for the... Is this round 3 or round 2? Didn't we just do round 2? BCP's loading. Yeah, there we go. BCP had a little bit of a brain fart, but your main man, Nick, doesn't brain fart. In round 3, England did not play Romania. It played against Spain, 83 to 77. This is our first draw, and this is why we're saying Spain's one of those top countries. So here we got Alex Harrison with Astra Militarum, artillery and stuff versus Taraxer on his 1,000 Tons. Now, most of you probably don't know who Taraxer is, because my demographics say you're a bunch of Americans and European people. But you know what? Here's the reality to it. Taraxer, from my understanding, I've never played the guy, is one of the strongest Spanish players out there, and really does magical stuff with his Thousand Suns. And you'll see Thousand Suns doing magical stuff all weekend out here, as he 20-0s Alex Harrison. Vic, with his Thousand Suns, another magical Thousand Suns player, getting a 13-7 against Blood Angels. Now, in neither edition, this would have been like a 0-20 to the Blood Angels, so it's cool to see Vic doing really well with Thousand Suns. This seems with his Death Watch, getting a 15-5 win over Gene Circle. That's because Death Watch is a pretty good counter to Gene Circle. But if I recall, Nassim only brought one unit of Infiltrators. So that's like, how did you actually dominate the Gene Circle this heavily with only one unit of Infiltrators? Not my business. Mark Porter with the 13-7 win over Adeptus Custodes. Well done. Chris getting 0-20 by Eldari with his CSM. That's just oppression mode, but it is what it be. Josh Roberts 16-4ing some Orcs with his Custodes. Manny Chima getting an 18-2 against Chaos Demons with his double Wraith and Eldar. And then Matt Robertson getting an 8-12 against Astral Militarum with his Tyranids, ending the result in a draw 77-83. Now, this is probably not an upset at all. Spain and England were two countries that if you told me they draw, I'd be like, that makes sense. Yeah, good job, Spain. But, you know, for a first, the bracket pairing getting draws is a little unexpected. We've got Germany here, getting a 112 versus Switzerland. That makes sense. Let's follow Poland with a 106 over Finland. Makes sense there. And then we've got Sweden. Sweden won a 103 over 57 on Greece. Also makes sense. So Sweden's pod looks like Greece. Why did I load this? Italy. Impressive win over Italy. Italy's a strong country. So getting a 98 to a 62 over Italy is strong. And then Israel, yeah, that makes sense. So Sweden's doing great. And let's finish out Poland for round 3. Just see what their pod looks like. Poland at the end there gets a 106 to 54 Finland. Didn't I just check that? Australia, that's the one I didn't check. Australia's round 3. Australia getting a draw. So this is the first bit of Australia difficulty we see here. Versus Belgium. And obviously Belgium was a strong performer this year, getting top 10 with their army, with their team. So 16-4 with Liam's Necrons versus Frederick's Gene Circle. Now, I will say, Liam did a lot of magic with his Gene Circle. Liam last year was the strongest player in the room, I would say, winning both the singles with the Necron list and then being top scorer of the entire WTC with a different Necron list. Man, it's just built different, you know. He's typically one of the strongest players in Australia, and this year he was the captain, so by default, transitive property makes him one of the strongest players in the world. Now, a lot of players would assume Gene Circle just got Necrons good. I think it's a shaky matchup where if you just go in for your damage turn and you just don't connect with it, then the Necrons run away with the game. And I think Liam, based on the consistency that which he's beating Gene Circle, has figured out some trick, tactic, positional thing, some nuance to the matchup that will prevent Gene Circle from actually connecting with it effectively enough to kill it with reliability. But connecting with it, I'm talking about dropping Neophytes and Acolytes and Demo Chargers on top of 20 Warriors and just acing them out of existence. Chaos Space Marines versus Imperial Knights 10-10 draw. I have no idea how this is even possible. Didn't Jeremy bring like every Obliterator on the planet? This is probably what cost them the win here, is my guess, because this should be a 20-0 for the Chaos Space Marines. Abaddon, Chaos Lord Cultist, 10-man Terminator Brick, 5-man Chosen, 1, 2, 3 Forge Fiends, 4 Blitz, 2 Flamers, and a Changeling, and a Blue Scribes. This should be a 20-0. I don't really understand what the hell's happening here. Let's take a look at this Imperial Knight list. Maybe there's some magic sauce going on. Night Warden, 1, 2 Helverins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 Graves. Nope, that looks like a Knight list. I don't really know how this became a 10-10. Maybe some abysmal rolls from Jeremy. Maybe some excellent play by Pierre. Really don't know, but this was, I would expect this to be 20-0 in Chaos Space Marine's favor. Brody getting a 1 against Alexander Sacco. Oh, he's a Warrior member. Love him. He's coming on the podcast next week, coming in, shooting people with Forge Fiends into Horde Tyranids, proving that Horde Tyranids not as good as Monster Tyranids. Well done, Sean. Alex Terracin with Gene Circle getting an 11-9 versus Custodes. I know a lot of people assume this is a 20-0 for Gene Circle or a 15-5 or something. Something really good for the Gene Circle against the Custodes. It's not. It's not. I would say this is anywhere between a 12-8 with Gene Circle pretty much always getting that upper end of the spectrum on it. So, definitely makes sense here. Josh McMillan with Thousand Suns against Deathwatch. Josh got an 8, where Guillaume got a 12. And this is what's interesting, because earlier you saw Thousand Suns getting a 20-0 over Death Watch, and it's like, how did that happen? This really goes to show, like, the nuances of the player skill. Like, the same matchups could have such totally different results. Imperial Knights losing to Thousand Suns. Okay. And then Chris writes, Eldar getting a 17-3 against Hugo Riccardi's Eldar. This is a mirror match, and this is very dangerous. Eldar mirror matches can go... They typically go towards that 20-0 spectrum in one person's favor because one person makes a movement error. And it can be a very, very, very small movement error that really doesn't reflect a 20-0 kind of mistake. But Eldar is so lethal and so punishing that a small movement error pretty much ends the game for you. So, just looking at the Eldar list, this one's got a lot more characters than we're used to seeing. A lot more chaff, and then 20 Wraithguard and a Wraith Knight. Okay. Different style Eldar list than what I'm used to, but definitely strong. So this was Australia's draw, and pretty much the end of round 3. And now we get into the really interesting bits of this tournament. So let's go to round 4. And this is the first time we're playing top versus top, all the way through and through. So we'll start off with England, because they're the first team to come up here. England with an 87 win over Austria. Now, Austria did a really good job. I believe they drew Germany, actually. I didn't check Germany in the last round. I think Germany... Did Germany go undefeated through the pod? Let's find out. Germany is a top team. Yeah, they beat Switzerland, so... I might be getting my rounds confused. There's a lot of rounds to keep track of here, especially when you weren't there. So, okay. We've got Sean... Oh, this is round 4. USA played... USA didn't. USA did play Germany. And then we had a 2-point win here. This is what I'm thinking of. Okay. So in round 4, USA played Germany. And this was a draw last year where USA played Germany, which knocked USA to like 4th or 5th place, and Germany took 3rd with it. So really, really awesome round here. Sean with the 17-3 against Custodes, once again proving his eclectic monsters smash tyrants can beat the crap out of Custodes. Adrian here had a little bit of a more MSU Custodes list, and Adrian is a great friend of ours, so awesome to see them play. Jaime getting a 4 to Arn's 16 on Death Watch versus Thousand Suns. This is nuts! I don't understand why Thousands are so amazing, but apparently Thousand Suns have really, like, a great player with Thousand Suns. Arn's a great player, Vic's a great player, Tarax's a great player, there's others. They're all doing great work with these Thousand Suns, and America didn't even bring Thousand Suns, so, like, it's such an interesting dynamic here. Eric Forsman with a 10-10 versus Chaos Knights. This is shocking. Gene Circle definitely have the tools to kill Chaos Knights, but if his list is like 13 War Dogs, you could actually struggle to kill it fast enough, and they are very good at dominating primary. Let's take a look at this 13 War Dogs. 1, 2, 3, 4 Stalkers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Brigands. 1, 2, 3, 4 Huntsmen. Yep, that is 4 plus 4 plus 8. That is 13 War Dogs, I believe. That's just a tough primary for Eric there. Then we've got Lucas Troller versus Florian, 14-6 for GSC, or for Orcs rather. Now, a lot of people think Orcs kind of suck. The Orc list they brought for this team tournament did amazing. It was basically 90 boys. I'll pull up for you. This is probably one of the Team America's best army lists that they brought to this tournament. No, I don't want to score the game for them. I just want to look at the list. Come on, BCP. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Where is USA? Oh, so difficult. Okay, well, I'll summarize while I try to find it. Basically, it is... Oh, we got there. It is Beast Boss, Weird Boy, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 boys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 trucks, 3 big trucks. 90 boys, 9 transports to put them in. 20 grots, 3 solo mech cannons. 1, 2, 3 units of Storm Boys. So 27 units, MSU everywhere. Dudes, primary actions. And it's just really hard to kill it all fast enough. And in the case of Genestealer Cult versus, they struggle to kill the transports, then deal with the stuff inside. So they're basically going to be able to get charged by the Orcs, is the long story short of it, and really struggle to keep on the pressure. Multiple small units is the answer to your question in chat there. We had a question, what does MSU stand for? It's a Warhammer colloquial term, multiple small units. It's a build type. John with a 10-10 versus Custodes, or with Custodes versus Deathwatch. Strong there. 13-7 for Grey Knights versus Necrons. Jack is consistently performing with his weird Grey Knight list. Anthony with an 8-12, 2 Chaos Demons. Now, I know a lot of teams slept on Chaos Demons. They were not a popular pick at this WTC, but I think they are still awesome. And I'm not just saying that because they're my favorite army. They are such a good team army. Their whole issue is that they spam Greater Demons. There's things like Eldar out there who just kill you for that. But in teams, they score. Man, you will not stop CSM or Chaos Demons from scoring. So I'm shocked we didn't see more of it. And then Matt Shookman with a 10-10 draw versus Eldari. That's something you don't see every day. Usually Eldar mirrors just go coin flip. One person wins, one person loses. And you can see, given that Team America barely won this game, if Matt Shookman flipped it down, they would have barely drawn this round. So awesome job to Matt holding on to a 10 here. And that probably means a lot of staring at each other and not actually interacting with 40k. But that's okay. That's what WTC is. You know, you have to really know how to play your team, not just the player. Okay. Continue on through round 4. This is where the top teams start colliding with each other. This was where Sweden kind of went straight versus Poland and died. Sad. 1, 2, 3, 4 losses. We got their Eldar beating Necrons 12-8. We got their Necrons beating Tau 18-2. Poland's Tau were pretty disappointed in this tournament. I'm not sure how they performed overall. But I'll start keeping a note on that Tau player and that Tau army's performance. But 2 points here versus the Necrons is not exciting. But overall, not a great performance from Sweden versus Poland in round 4. That's going to set them back quite a bit. England with an 87-73. This is, again, 3 points away from a draw. This is what I was thinking. Austria almost took the draw from England, but they just couldn't hold on at the end. This game was on stream. Matt Robertson actually played 4-15-5 against Deathwatch, and this should be bad for Tiernan. So the fact that Matt got this 5, if he just rolled over and died, they literally wouldn't have drawn this round and be a lot worse off over here. So, continuing onward, we've got, we did USA, Germany, Sweden, Poland. What's the one I'm missing? Australia. So, Australia just took a draw in round 3. Australia versus France. And France, of course, coming up as one of the strongest teams out there. They're probably feeling awesome after getting a win over Australia. They probably feel like they can take this whole tournament down since Australia's last year's champions. 91-69. Their Eldar beat Jeremy's Chaos Space Marines. That's pretty on point. Pretty consistent. I'm surprised Jeremy actually pulled out a 6 here. Maybe his dice turned around from the previous round. Their Chaos Space Marines beat Will's Knights 14-6. Again, nice job to Will for pulling only a 6-point loss here, but this seems like a little bit of a pairing debacle if your first 2 matchups start out like this. Let's see if they can pull it back. Liam's Necrons 18-2 and Gene Stealer Cult. Again, I really have no idea what the secret sauce is specifically, but it's too consistent to be a fluke. Liam has this matchup figured out. Benjamin versus Chris Wright. Custodes getting a 13-7 versus Eldari. This is not what you want to see. Now, Custodes can hang with Eldar, and they can even win Eldar, especially if this was like Custodes' first defender board choice situation. But you don't want to have this happen to you. You want to be pushing them for that 13-7 type of win. Brody Middleton with his Tyrant losing to Astra Militarum. This is just unfortunate. That Horde Tyrant army is not really looking like the sauce. I know Australia's infamous, or famous, depending on your perspective, to running that Horde Nid style, but it's typically Eric Lathurus who pilots it, and I just don't think we're getting the same results with Eric not actually being here. Eric was the former captain of Australia, and he's not in attendance today. Edward Simon versus Matt Morsoli, 12-8 for Chaos Knights, putting it 2,000 Suns. Now we're actually going to get Matt Morsoli on the podcast as well to talk about Chaos Knights, so that's going to be really exciting. We've got some chatter in the chat. What was Liam's list? In essence, it was 40 warriors. I'll click on it for you really quick. Like 40 Necron warriors with maximum support. So we got a Catacomb Command Barge to make them OC3. Chronomancer with a Veil. Nightbringer, Illuminor Xeris for that AP reduction and increase. Oricon for a 4+ invulnerable save instead of the Feeling of Pain on the 1 unit. An Overload, a Royal Warden, and a Transcendent Titan. 2x20 warriors. He's got the 1 Gauss Flare in the 1. This is so that I believe it's the Overlord. I'm not that familiar with Necron. One of the characters joins this big unit of warriors, and it gives him Fire and Fade, essentially, the ability to move after you're done shooting. And you get 1 Gauss Flare for that longer range gun, so you can just walk, then shoot, then walk. Ghost Arc for double reanimation, Reanimator, Cryptothals. So, like, just 40 warriors and 2 Satan in, like, characters. There's nothing else. How it's getting legit 20s, I don't know. I don't even know how it scores secondaries. but it's scoring secondaries. I mean, it's scoring 20s. How are you beating... To score 20, you have to beat someone by more than 50. And... or an 18... To score an 18-2 against Gene Circle, you have to beat them by more than 40. To beat them by more than 40, the easiest way would be, like, get 100 or 60. But this army's not getting 100-point wins. It's just not that good at secondaries. So is it so dominant in primary and so dominant at denying secondaries that you just can't score it? But as a Gene Stealer Cult player, I look at this Necron army and I'm thinking, I'll take fixed objectives, deploy teleport homers behind enemy lines. That is 40 points that you cannot stop. So even if I don't score primary, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Liam's guru. Liam's a guru. There's nothing else I can say about that. And then finishing out the round, Necrons versus Gene Stealer Cult. So their Necrons, by they I mean France's Necrons, have not figured out the magic sauce to fight Gene Stealers. Only Liam has. For that, that's an 11-9 loss for the GSC. And then finally we got Olivier, who's the French captain, one of my favorite Frenchies, with Black Templars versus Thousand Suns for 16-4. How fitting that the anti-psychic Space Marines beat the Thousand Suns. I'm pretty sure Olivier is the only person who actually brought Black Templars to this tournament. I'm curious how... Will it give me stats on Olivier at all? No, just this round. Okay, whatever. I'm curious. Maybe I'll do some player placings after this to see how specific players did. I'm curious about that Horde Knit army, those Black Templars, Vix Thousand Suns, all that jazz. But let's move on to round 5. Alright, so round 5, we've got USA versus Poland. This is right... as this is the climax of the tournament. This is essentially the finals, and they drew. And that's why they got first second. 79-81, slightly in Poland's favor. Anthony taking an 18-2 loss to the Dark Angels. This is brutality. This Dark Angels is also very strange, and I want to familiarize myself with it a little bit more. We've got an Ancient Terminator armor, an Apothecary Biologist, a Captain in Terminator armor, and a Librarian in Phobos armor. That's going to be 6 aggressors, 1-2 solo attack bikes. They're just for mission play, I'm sure. 10 Deathwing Knights, 3 Inceptors. Love the Inceptors. Good job, Poland. 5 Infiltrators, 1 Land Raider Redeemer. What a pick. And then 5 Sniper Scouts, and a Thunderfire. What is happening? What has happened? Do the aggressors go in the Redeemer? I just don't even know how this list plays. I don't know how it works. This was awesome. Okay, so 18-2 to the Dark Angels here. Jaime getting a 12-8 versus Poland's Tau. Poland's Tau not putting up the work, not putting up the scores. Jaime's doing great over here. Jack an 11-9 with the Grey Knights. Good job, Jack. Sean, another 16-4 to the Tyranids. And I heard a comment in this saying that there was a lot of Flamers in the Tyranid army. And there are a lot of Flamers in the Tyranid army. But, like, it's not that the Flamers just lift the GSC before the GSC shoot when they drop. Like, you can overwatch with even 2 of your units, right? Like, you have the Hive Tyrants, you can overwatch twice. But GSC units are 20 guys big. I just don't get it. They're also OC 1,000 on every objective, scoring every secondary. I just don't get it. What does Sean's army do? Matt's Eldar versus Michael Duda's Eldar. And this is back to the kind of... It's interesting how many Eldar mirrors Matt has been facing. He got a big win earlier, he got a draw, and now we got the loss. All full range of the spectrum in the Eldar mirrors here. John's Custodes versus Victor's Custodes for an 11-9. Good job, John, winning those mirrors. 11-9, looking fine. So a lot of mirror matchups in this one. I think Poland did an amazing job pairing into England. If I had to call this... from my pairings, I would say I don't know much about the Dark Angels, so it's hard for me to gauge. Death Watch versus Tau, I would say this was correct. 12-8 towards the Death Watch. 11-9 Necrons, that's what Jack's army does. 16-4 GSC, evidently it's what John's army does, but I still don't know how. This is a coin flip and can go a lot of different ways. This is a draw fest unless someone screws up. No one screwed up. 8-12 Astra Militarum. That makes sense, especially given that Skark is probably one of the strongest players in the world, and Eric is relatively new to this level of play, so I would say this is an 8-12 type of matchup, and then Eric getting the 8 makes perfect sense. And then Lucas Troller with a 16-4 over Thousand Suns, over Puma's Thousand Suns, and that makes a lot of sense. We showed quite a bit how Orcs just really stam. This match is actually on stream as well on the War Games Live channel, so you can definitely check that out. So that's round 5. This is not the finals, but kind of felt like the finals, at least from my perspective. Australia over here. Now, after taking draw loss, they should be a little bit softer field. They're slamming Scotland into the ground. Scotland's got Ben Jurek on it. I was like, he's an American. And it is getting that win over Josh McMillan. I want to see how Brody did. Brody's Tyranids losing again. Damn it, Brody. Okay, the Hordenids not doing it. Germany, what happened to you after drawing America, or losing to America? Oh, another loss to Sweden. So Germany just went lost, and got knocked out of the tournament. Sweden coming back strong after Poland. And also, what brutality. Sweden losing to Poland 100 and something to, like, whatever, to then fight Germany. That is, no wonder their strength of schedule is 1,000. They hit every hard team, besides America. Okay, so we did Poland, we did Australia, we did Germany, by default we did Sweden. We didn't do England. Let's do England. England versus France. We did do England versus France. Oh, no we didn't. England beats France 90-70. So after France beats Australia and they're feeling like kings of the world, England says, get back in your place, and slams them down 90-70. 5 points off from a draw. So Chris losing to Necrons 11-9. This feels like a win to me because I just don't think CSM have the oomph to beat Necrons like this, but Chris pulling up good points here. Many Chima's Eldar just dumpstering to USC. I don't know how this happens. I mean, Manny Chima's got a pretty brutal list, double Wraith Knight and whatever, but how do you come home with a 1 with Gene Stealer cults? Guys, I mean, they're just Gene Stealer cults. They come back to life. The Deep Strike this score. What is going on? We will try to get an interview with Liam. I promise everybody. Do not fret. Liam's a tough man to tango with in terms of he lives on the other side of the planet and is flying back across the world right now. But I will do my best to get an interview with Liam. That man has figured it out. Okay. We've got Nassim losing 11-9 to Adeptus Custodes. Pretty even match. That's fine. Alex Harrison, 10-10 draw versus Eldari. That's mega impressive. Astromilitarum has no business drawing Eldari. Artillery going first can just do that, though, so I guess. But if this guy doesn't have a Wraith Knight and Alex had a big table, I could see this being pretty good for him. Let's see. Is there a Wraith Knight? There's 2 Wraith Knights. I have no idea how Alex pulled a 10 here. Alex is great. Matt Robertson with an 8-12 to Olivier's Black Templars. Olivier putting in the work with Black Templars. Seriously impressive. Mike Porter 11-9 in GSC. See, I told you, this is a 10-10 type of matchup. It's a 12-8 either way. Mike Porter getting into the 11-9 here. Chaos Space Marines versus Vic's Thousand Sons. We're going to do some Vic magic over here. Vic is another gentleman that I'd love to get on the podcast. I think he actually messaged me like seconds before going live. I think he said yes. So we should get Vic. I got so many podcast episodes we're going to line up from the WTC. I'm so excited. So if you're not a member of the Art of War podcast, you can listen to it for free here on YouTube, but also you can support us on our Patreon, AOW40k.com. It's a 2-part show every week. Part 1 is free, so you don't have to do anything. Just go over and listen. So just check out what the show's about. Basically, it's a 2-part show. Part 1, we interview top-level players and figure out what makes them tick, how they operate, what their play style is, and how they approach list building and all that. And then Part 2, we take the list they actually use and break down how it specifically works. How do these Thousand Sons pull these wins? And then Josh getting an 11-9 over Edward Simon. 90-70. So tough loss for France, but France is still in this tournament at this moment. Okay, moving on to round 6. This is the semi-finals. The finals before the finals. So we've got John McCardell gifting 20 super chats. John, you hero! Not only is John a hero on this channel, but John's a hero on every channel of Warhammer 40k. John went on to the War Games Live channel and just dumped, I don't know, a casual, like, 5 gajillion memberships over the weekend. John, I don't know what you do for a living. It don't really matter. You are here for Warhammer 40,000, the community, and I am so for you. You're such a pillar. Like, you rock. All these people now get to enjoy some amazing premium content of the War Room and get access to our amazing Discord server, all because of your generosity. Everybody, give a shout out to John McCardell in the chat right here and give him a big-ass thank you, because this man deserves a hug. All right. Next, we've got round 6. So, right now, going into this tournament, USA and Poland are the frontrunners. They're first, only undefeated teams. Only thing on their record right now is a draw. They are just in it. So, USA slamming into England. Poland is slamming into... Who's Poland slamming into? Poland's slamming into Spain. So, Poland slams into Spain and breaks their back over a chair, 101-59. Just murder mode over here. The Dark Angels drew Chaos Demons. See? Chaos Demons once again putting to work. Underappreciated faction. I'm telling you. I'm bringing Chaos Demons to my next team tournament. Say I won't. Say I won't. Oh, no. We have clicked the wrong button. Okay, we can get through this. We can get through this together. We click pairings here. And we go to round 6. And we go back to Poland. And we wait for it to load while we answer a $5 super chat from Kaja. John over everyone else combined. There's so much John Lennon hype in this chat. People be loving John with this Custodes. Okay. So why I spelled Poland wrong? That's why it's not loading. Poland. Okay. Poland slamming these demons into a tie because demons are a great army that don't know how to not score points. Be'lakor, Bloodthirster, Lord Change, Shalaxi, Skullmaster on a Changeling, 2 Nerdlings, Fat 6 Crushers, 3x3 Flamers, and that's the end. Strong list, like the Bloodcrusher Flare. Not a big fan of the Bloodthirster. It's strong. Puma's Thousand Suns getting bodied by Spain's Astra Militarum for a 15-5. Damn it, BCP. Just let me do this. Let me do the thing that I promised I would do. Poland. Okay. We're done clicking buttons, everybody. Then we've got Poland starting off not strong, right? For 101 to 59, they've got draw, loss. Custodes getting a 7 to 13 on Blood Angels. Spain likes to bring Blood Angels. I don't know why, but Spain's always bringing Blood Angels. I see that very commonly on our team. 13-7. Good job, Spain. And here's where I guess they flip it back with their 15-5 for GSC versus Eldar. This is definitely a reasonable result. You screw up with the Eldar, you find out with the GSC. Tau finally showing up to work today. Crazy Man is what his name is, and he's got a 13-7 over Custodes. I don't really know how that happens, but Tau shoot really hard. Then we've got Skark, probably one of the strongest players in all of WTC. 20-0ing Genestealer Cult with Astra Militarum. This is not a possible result for this matchup unless you are really misunderstanding what to do here. I don't know what happened. I mean, we saw Eric Forsman, who is not super experienced. Relative to the field, he's a great player. But relative to Skark, no, like a decade or more of less experience than Skark. And he got a 12-8. He got the 8, but this man's getting a 0. What is happening to our Genestealer Cult friends? 11-9 Necrons versus Orcs. I can see that. And then 20-0 Eldari versus Taraxer's Thousand Sons. Michael Duda putting in the absolute beats on a Taraxer. Now, this is a match I wish they got on stream. Michael Duda is like a Polish veteran. Poland's historically one of the strongest teams out there, most winning team of the WTC. Michael Duda's always on the team. I've played the guy. He's a great player. And Taraxer haven't played the guy, but I've heard nothing but devious things about this man. So the fact that Michael's getting 20s and Taraxer's getting 0s, I don't know what happened in that game. Eldar can just do that, especially you get bad terrain on your table. Good night. So, there is that. But holy crap. These two, Skark and Michael Duda, put this round on their back and said, Polish friends, we go. We go to victory. That's what happened. So Poland goes into round 7 in the driver's seat, absolutely dominating, especially when you consider the fact that USA now going in this round basically tied with Poland needs to match that enormous win over Spain that the US got, that Poland got. But instead they draw England. Literally 2 points from a loss here. Literally, like the wrong end of a draw, but they were able to hold on. Jack Harpster, Matt Robertson, Art of War Coach, Showdown Shindig, 10-10. That's because all our coaches are awesome. That's because even the European coaches, they are just as good. Because, they know. Tyranids was great. It's 10-10. Anthony with the 10-10 versus Mike Porter. Wow, how does that happen? CSM versus Genestealer Cult 10-10. I would have said Anthony's getting dumpstered. But I guess Anthony knows what he's doing for that 10-10. Well done, my friend. Okay. We got John with Adeptus Custodes versus Manny Chima with a 7-13 loss. Again, this is like you try to push for that win if you're Custodes, but Eldar tries to push that win. I would say 13-7 is like the ceiling for how bad this matchup typically gets. But Double Wraith Knight, Manny looks like he got this one. Jaime with a 3 against Chris's Chaos Space Marines. Now this, I don't really know why it got so out of hand for Jaime, but this got out of hand for Jaime. I will say Chris has 10 Obliterators, and they have the indirect fire strength 8 mode they have is so good at picking up like foot Space Marines, which is what Jaime's list ultimately is. I could definitely see that. Eric Forsman proving once again that Genestealer Cult do actually get 10s against Astra Militarum, unless you're in Spain. 10-10 draw versus Alex Harrison's Astra. Sean Naden getting a 13-7 versus Nassim. How is this happening? This man has taken out 2 Death Watch, 2 GSC, 2 Custodies so far. What is going on? Undefeated reign of Sean Naden continues. Lucas Orcs getting trolled by Vic's Thousand Sons. Now, Luke, literally last round, if I recall in round 5, played Poland. And, I don't know, let's just check the tapes. 16-4 Thousand Sons. And Poland's like not a bad player. Poland's not bringing bad players to this tournament. What just 16-4 the Thousand Sons, you know? And that, if you ask me as an objective bystander, where you can look list to list, I absolutely see it. Thousand Sons hate being overwhelmed. And Orcs are like, that's the only thing they do is overwhelm you. That's not, I could see 16-4. But then Vic. Luscious Vic. Vic a war member. Vic a hero. Vic with the sultry tones. Vic from the Fireside podcast. Vic 17-3 Lucas Troller. How is this happening? Now Vic's got flamers for days. But how is this happening? I just don't get it. So, in order to understand this, we're actually going to get Vic on the podcast as well. We're going to get a ton of guests, everybody. We're going to get tons of guests. So, we are going to talk about all the plays that Vic's got on an upcoming Art of War podcast episode. Because I just got to know, how is he doing this? And then Matt Schuckman putting Josh Roberts, who's the former English captain, one of the strongest players in England, 20 points under the ground in an absolute dumpster fire. So 76-84, tough round for the USA. Where did it go wrong? Jaime getting flipped over by Chris's Chaos Space Marines. That's really what cost us a lot of points. And then John, this was just like, a few points more than we would have liked here. Lucas Troller, that's I'd say where this really went wrong, because I would expect this to be 17-3 in Lucas's favor, and then all of a sudden, if we add 17 points to this, America's at 93, and no, that's just a win. So, anyways, interesting. I don't think this was poorly paired by America. I think this was necessarily a misunderstanding of how great that Thousand Sons list was. So, let's take a look at how the other teams are faring. Germany's pretty much out of this tournament at this point. But they slammed Canada. Now, if Canada won this round, they'd be in top 5. Or, competing for top 5, I should say. But Germany slams Canada, 67-93. Canada is stepping up, though. They got 14th. That is top half. Much improvement. We've got Sweden, after taking down Germany. They're feeling like their only loss was to Poland. They take down France! They put France into the ground! Oh my god, Sweden is here to play. No wonder their strength of schedule is enormous. Good teams? Nah, get out of here. We're Sweden. Sweden's just destroying. Oh, wow. Olivia getting 0-20 by Eldari over here. Brutality. Not what you'd expect. And then we've got... Where did their demon player go? France has a demon player. Did France not bring a demon player? Am I making stuff up? Alright, France didn't bring a demon player. Whoopsie daisies. So we did Germany, Australia. Australia's sneaking around now. They took a draw and a loss. Everyone's sleeping on Australia. And they... told Austria why it's important to add an L. An AL. 103-57. Brutality. And this brings us to the final round here, everybody. The clincher. So, Poland once again commanding this round. They had this round with 2 hours to go. What could have been anyone's tournament going in the final round because of how match points and battle points all work out quickly became Poland wins the tournament as Poland put England into the dirt. Skark 20-0ing Adeptus Custodes. That's because Skark is made of something different. He's just made of Polish 40k raw talent. I don't know. Put him out of a factory. Thousand Sons versus Death Watch. I've seen this match so many times and I still don't understand what the ebbs and flows are. Puma getting a 14-6 over Nassim. Michael Duda 20-0ing Matt Robertson Tyranids. R.I.P. Matt. That's a tough one. Necrons versus Gene Circle, 11-9 to GSCC. This makes sense for what GSC and 11 Necrons should do to each other, more or less draw. No, Brody's tier list is entirely little bugs, all small bodies, so total opposite approach to Sean's. There's a question from the chat. We've got Vic drawing Tau with this 10-10. What is this Tau army? Crazy Man's Tau make no sense. Gene Circle versus Guard once again in 11-9. Only when Skark plays Spain is this a 20-0. He's made the Spanish take some Polish pierogies and just stop playing Warhammer for a round. I don't really know. Victor Schmidt versus Chris Canaris, 13-7 Custodies for Chaos Space Marines. I actually watched this one on stream. This is a very good game to watch. Fun one to watch for sure. I think Chris made a couple movement errors here, but not so much that would have cost him big. This turned the difference between a 7 to a 9, that kind of thing. And then the Dark Angels getting put into the dirt by Eldari. This makes perfect sense. Wraith Knights do not care for your Land Raider Redeemer. They really don't. It's Poland won the tournament, but still a race for second. With England losing, not much more to be said there. France and Belgium getting an 80-80 draw. That's so funny with Sacco and Olivier Weiss getting a 12-8 right there. 80-80. I mean, this is, considering Belgium is has French players on it. I'm sure a lot of these guys are just local play buddies and stuff, or however that works in France. And they just 80-80 drew it. So France just sent 2 teams, in my opinion. All right. And then USA played Sweden at the end here, crushing Sweden's dream. And the USA and Sweden such a friendly relationship. This is pretty great. With a 94-66, Orcs getting a 15-5. Sean finally meeting his maker, getting a 0 versus Eldar. If Sean beat Eldar, I actually had a quote from yesterday. I saw us pairing in real time. I was like, if Sean wins this Eldar game, I'm stopping everything I'm doing, and I'm getting Sean this podcast, and I'm starting a Tiered army. I have a Tiered army, but I'm going to use it. But no, Sean magic ended. He actually did what he was supposed to and scored a 0 versus Wraith Knights. Lucas beating GSC, exactly what you'd expect, 15-5. John pulling out an 18-2 over Orcs. My boy, Custodies just wrecking Orcs as they do. Eric 10-10 in Custodies. Makes perfect sense. This is a 12-8 either way, typically in GSC's favor. This is the lower end for the GSC, but this is perfectly in line with my predictions. Matt Schickman, 19-1. He's some Death Watch. He knows what's going on. He shoots you with the Wraith Knight. He doesn't hold back. Jack Harcher taking his first loss all tournament with Grey Knights 2 Necrons, 8-12. Callie's an amazing player, a truly amazing opponent, so no shame losing there. Especially, Grey Knights typically beat Necrons 12-8, but this, flipping it the other way is variants of the cards and whatnot. 18-2 for Anthony's Chaos Space Marines versus Captain Daniel Hexelberg's Imperial Knights. This is just such a mismatch. Chaos Space Marines shoot Knights, Knights die. And then 6-14 for Jaime's Death Watch versus Jonathan Slade Johnson, another War Members Chaos Knights. So I know Jaime was actually kind of positioning for America to bring Chaos Knights, and for whatever reason, I guess that got thrown out of the pot here. But Chaos Knights beating Jaime at the end, I think it's a little poetic. And that, my friends, is pretty much WTC. So if you look at placings, once again, we got Poland beating America for first, America getting second, Australia for third. Who did Australia play in the last round, actually? Oh, Austria. No, was that last round? I think that was round 6. Australia beating the Netherlands 101-59. So if the Netherlands actually won this one, they would have been able to get third place instead, which is pretty amazing. Because the Netherlands are not something we would expect in top 3. Oh, Jonathan was actually the captain this year. This is even more exciting. Got another question in the chat. I hate to say it, Nick, but it looks like GSC is figured out. It's either been losses or narrow wins. Well, I would say GSC is figured out, where if you really know what you're doing with it, you should be taking narrow wins. You're not blowing people out in the early turns because of the nature of your army, so it's very hard to blow people out so badly on the scoreboard unless there was a misplay. Totally agree there. The losses they're taking, I don't understand the losses they're taking. I really don't. I really, really, really don't. And also, let's keep in mind that while these are team tournament results, there's pairing. The pairings process is such a factor when you consider the matchups. GSC in singles is a very different beast. So, Poland, USA, Australia, Sweden, England, Germany, Spain, Austria, Netherlands, and Belgium. That is your top 10, ladies and gentlemen. Great year. Especially for 10th edition, just launching. This is the World Team Championships, first time at 10th edition. It's always chaotic when the books drop. You see a lot of different perspectives. As an example, Thousand Sons were wrecking it. America didn't bring any Thousand Sons. Orcs were wrecking it. Most teams didn't bring Orcs. Demons were wrecking it. Barely anybody brought Demons. But I want to see specifically how individual players did. Now, let's not look too deeply into these player placings because, pairings are a process. But our best player in the tournament was Skark from Poland with Astra Militarum. None of you Eldar players went to work this weekend. None of you. I don't care if you scored 100 and, 111 points, because that's less than Skark, who's beating everybody 20-0s with Astra Militarum. Astra Militarum. Apparently best army in the game. Or is it Skark? I think it's Skark. Eldari. Yeah. You guys could have stepped it up. Michael Duda, also on Poland's team. Did anyone expect on Poland that Skark would do better than Michael Duda? I want to know. I want to know right now. Liam Hackett with Necrons in 4th. Also not playing Necrons. Liam, calm down. More Eldar. We got Genestealer Cult making an appearance. Custodes, Eldar. I wonder what the best armies in the game are. Genestealer Cult, Eldar. Jonas! I love Jonas. Great guy from Finland. Jonas! Justin Jansen with Genestealer Cult. Awesome. Arn, former War member and coaching client of mine with Thousand Suns. Manny with Eldar. Matt Morrisoli. So what's really interesting here, first place has Astra Militarum and Eldari, both from Poland, first place and third place. Now, if two of your players are bringing home 20-point wins almost every single round, the weakest one they got was Michael's 13 in round 3. That's the weakest thing. Skark's 12 in round 5. That's against USA. You would assume their team is like dominating, right? Because they have some such strong players. And they finished first. But then where I'm going with this is America. America's first appearance on this entire individuals roster is all the way down here on not page 1. Let's keep going. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep going. Sean Hayden, America's top player with Tyranid Monster Mash. What is happening? How did our Eldar not beat that? How did our GSC not beat that? What with Tyranids in 27th place? So you can see America getting second, only 1 match point behind Poland. Poland took a very diverse approach to it, where some of their players got wrecked every turn around. Their top player, who I'm going to pull up real quick, his name is Crazy Man. It's very easy to find. Whereas like Skark and Michael Duda were just making up for 20. And that's a very clear team comp thing. Like, you guys go fall on grenades, you guys go line up your pins. But I was looking at the pairings, right? We walked through the pairings. Skark wasn't going into easy free layups. He was going into Genestealer Cult left, right, and center. I don't understand. And Custodes. And then Michael Duda put himself in like so many Eldar mirrors and Genestealer Cults. And like, that's just play skill. That's raw talent. But then America, no one really was like, this team is about me. Sean tried, but also he did so by taking on Genestealer Cults, Custodes, and Death Watch. So not in a selfish way, in a like you're just a boss way. But no one else. Our next player, is it even on page 2? Yeah, Shookman with Eldar is our second strongest player in 43rd place. This team got second. America got second with such a balanced roster. Everyone performed every round. I don't even think I saw a single 0 on Team America's score sheet. Maybe 1, which is probably one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Usually someone dies during these tournaments. They brought the wrong thing, they get paired poorly, it's somebody's having a rough weekend. But no, overall, America did pretty great. Now I must know, how did Poland's Crazy Man do? Crazy man. Draw, 4, 2, 8, 13, 10. So, 3 draws, 3 losses, and a win. Alright, Tao. 196th place. Probably not it. What about Taraxu, that Spanish player? Wow. 4 wins and 3 zeros. Win big, lose big. Not what you expect out of Thousand Suns. They're like a points floor kind of army. You just play a KG game and you do well. That is not what I expect. Vic with his Thousand Suns. Really amazing showing. 5 wins, 2 draws, no losses. Well done, Vic. There's demons. Who's the demon players? I don't know the demon players. We have to go back to teams. I want to know how my demons did. Germany brought demons. Germany, it's not telling me. Okay, whatever. I will accept that for now. Everybody, that was the World Team Championships. It's the most fun weekend of the year for Warhammer players. It's really something else. It's something amazing. It's something that you just don't see every weekend, and I am so jealous I wasn't able to come. I would love to be back next year. Such an amazing time. I'm so utterly proud and impressed with Team America that they got second place. Not that I didn't expect them to get second or kick ass and do awesome. They always do, but like, man, They lost to Poland last year, and they brought that to a draw. We drew Germany last year. We brought that to a win. That alone brought us to second place. And I know they're hungrier, and I know they're thirstier, and they're going to come back even stronger next year. I gotta say, big shout out to Sean Naden for bringing Monster Mash Tyranids to the field. Like, amazing performance. No one expected that. I heard so many people talking smack about how that's a terrible army, and Sean said, I don't bring terrible armies. I bring Sean armies, and they just murdered it. Top performing player. It's crazy. Lucas Troller, he deserves a shout out. He played like Orc Truck Spam, and none of the teams brought Orc Truck Spam. Vic just murder-moding it with 1,000 Suns over there. Really impressive. Skark, I gotta give it to you. You just made different. You just made different, man. And Liam, on your Necrons, you figured something out that no one else has figured out yet. That's fucking amazing. So, everybody, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please drop a like, slam that subscribe button, and leave a comment letting us know what you thought, what you're excited about, and whether or not you want this series to continue, if not for the World Team Championships, but for other tournaments, whether it's American or European or Worlds, whatever it might be. We're going to be breaking down tournament formats for you. Let us know what you thought. Please, if you want to learn how to do these results, get on the World Championship team. Like, so many more members are on these World Championship level teams, and it just blows my mind how good these players have gotten in such a little amount of time. Players like Vic, I remember him when he was nobody knew who Vic was. Now smashing it on the largest scale ever, and I'm just so proud to see it all. So if you're interested in learning the game and becoming your best, and you don't have to compete on the World Championship level to get value out of this, you could just be playing at your local scene, your local store, your buddy in your basement. And if you just, put the time in, get a little better at the game, you will not only get results in terms of your win records in Warhammer, but you will enjoy your hobby more, feel like you're connecting with your hobby more, get more depth out of it, and just more enjoyment out of it. Check out the War Room for the link below. 3-day free trial. Gets you access to all this stuff. Most of the players in this Discord that we have access to are in this World Team Championships. You get access to all of them at your fingertips. It's just a hobby-changing investment, which ultimately will change your life. I can't tell you enough how worth it is. And if you're not sure, just check out the 3-day free trial. We're not a gym. It's very easy to cancel. Slam that like button, leave a subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll catch you later.